What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing okay. I am doing very well. At least I'm doing very well now. Over the last couple of days, I've had to fight off a migraine and some deal with some other things. That's why I haven't really posted any content, but I'm feeling better. So we got a lot of stuff we're going to catch up on over the next week. So expect to see a video almost every single day this week coming up, but you'll see those in due time. For some time now, I've been trying to figure out how to introduce wrestling content onto the channel because I am a huge wrestling fan. I go back to the 80s and the heyday of wrestling when it was rock and wrestling, when you had names like Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano accompanying wrestlers down to the ring. My all-time favorite is Roddy Piper. I even have a toy statue of him that I've had for quite some time. I am just an old school wrestling fan. Last week, one of the biggest names from that same era, Hulk Hogan, passed away. And since then, there have been meme after meme, pretty much poking fun at Hulk Hogan after his passing. This was my favorite one. I have laughed at pretty much every single meme that I've seen. They are hysterical. If you know anything about it. For me, the conversation has taken a left turn because I understand so much of what Hulk Hogan became skews what he was. And perhaps the conversation really more should be what we know of him now is what he always was. It just got out more as time went on. But also within the jokes and the memes after his passing, there seems to be a skewing of the truth from both sides, and I think one side doesn't understand the other, and I think the truth is always in the middle. So I was asked my thoughts on the situation, so I'm going to tell you what I think of not just the passing of Hulk Hogan, but also the memes and everything we know about him outside of the ring over the past, I would say, decade, maybe even more. So, growing up, wrestling was played constantly in my household. My dad, one of his, if I'm not mistaken, it was his gym teacher or one of his teachers in high school. A guy was maybe filling in. That was Bobo Brazil, big wrestler in those days. When I was born, there were other names that were bigger even still than him, like Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. But when I came into my own and became a big wrestling fan, the man was Hulk Hogan. He was it, plain and simple. When there is an echelon of wrestlers within that era, he was at the very top. His presence loomed larger than pretty much anybody within the United States, celebrity whatsoever. He was top of wrestling, but when it came to just celebrity, he was it. He was at the very top. I mean, the man was in a Rocky movie, for God's sakes, playing Thunder Lips. I want to say that was Rocky 3. And in that film, when we saw him, we stopped rooting for Rocky. We were rooting for Hulk Hogan to beat Rocky up, which he actually did in the film. He was our hero. We people who grew up in that era, kids like me who grew up in that era, when Hulk Hogan said, "Say your prayers and take your vitamins," we did just that. He was it. Period. Plain and simple. When we looked on TV and we saw superheroes and action heroes, it was like, yeah, he's cool, but he's no Hulk Hogan. That was just it. That is the absolute truth of it. But within that, you also have to throw in the truth. The absolute truth is that over the years, we come to find out that Hulk Hogan was one of the, and I hate to say it like this, but it is the most appropriate way to say it, but he is one of the biggest pieces of shit that we could possibly ever come to imagine. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that, but that is the absolute truth. He was, in fact, a racist. And you don't have to bank on that by what he said with about his daughter's boyfriend at the time. You don't even have to bank that on the fact that when his son got into a car accident, he mocked his own son, saying, "Hey, if you die and come back, I hope you don't come back as one of those." Insert the N word there in the blank. You can bank it on the fact that wrestlers, his own peers, people who he worked under, people who he worked next to, for years now, there are hours and hours of testimonials of his bad behavior, his racist behavior, things he's said, things he's done to other people. I mean, you can even go back to, if I want to say it was the early 90s when wrestlers were trying to unionize and say, hey, we get hurt when we're on the road and we don't want to lose our jobs just because we get hurt. We're unionizing because we want to be taken care of so we can get back in the ring because we love to perform. We love to be wrestlers. And they went to Hulk Hogan, who was an elder statesman at that time, and said, hey, we need you to back us up. And he said yes at first, but then turned around and went and snitched on them to Vince McMahon at the time, who was head of WWF, which is now WWE. And Vince was able to put the kibosh on all that simply because Hulk Hogan was, to his core, a company man. Hours upon hours of testimonials have spoken about who he is as a person. Right now in the headlines, there is, with it being Monday now, there is lines from the family saying, hey, it's not the right time to talk about him and call him a racist. But the truth of the matter is, now is about as appropriate time as any. Him passing on into the next life, it doesn't matter. When he was here with us, walking around, he proved about what he was. Yes, growing up, he was my and so many others' hero. But as we got older, as we got to see the man behind the persona, because Hulk Hogan is just a persona, when we got to meet Terry Bollea, when we really got to the core of him, he was a racist. He was a horrible, horrible human being. And I think that part needs to be said out loud. For people who grew up in the 80s like me, we say, yes, he was our hero. Was. Past tense. Because once we got to meet him outside of the ring, we realized that he wasn't the man we thought he was. And it kind of makes it true that you never really want to meet your heroes. Or, as they said in the Batman movie, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that's a very sad thing. It truly breaks my heart that I would have to come around and say this because I was such a huge Hulk Hogan fan. But it's the truth. And the truth needs to be stated. Whether he passed on or not is immaterial. The truth stands on its own, regardless of the time of day. So that's all I got for now. I just wanted to come in and touch on that. Make sure you tuned into the channel. We got a whole lot more coming up this week. Movie reviews. Actually going to be talking about that Fantastic Four movie that just came out over the weekend. And no pun intended, it was actually fantastic. Dad jokes, I'm going to make sure I not say that in the actual review. But that's it for now. Like I said, I'll catch you on the next video. God bless. I love you and peace. See you next time.